That night, the air in the city of Pripyat felt strange, like it was holding its breath before something inevitable happened. The workers at Reactor 4 thought it was just a routine test, unaware that they were summoning a man-made apocalypse. When the needles of the measuring instruments vibrated wildly, no one dared to say that everything had spun out of control. In a matter of seconds, a small mistake turned into history that changed the world forever. There were no sirens, no warnings, just a strange blue light dancing in the Ukrainian night sky. Residents gazed from their balconies, mesmerized by the beautiful sight, unaware that deadly radiation was already filling their lungs. Children laughed, picking up the glowing ash that fell from the sky like sparkling snow. Not a single person realized that every breath was bringing them closer to a slow, invisible death. The government sealed its lips. The soldiers arrived, but the truth remained buried under layers of lies and radioactive dust. The Chernobyl tragedy wasn't just about the reactor explosion. It was about human arrogance that refused to admit its mistake. Hours before the disaster, the engineers received a direct order: continue the test no matter what happens. They knew the cooling system was unstable, but the political pressure was far stronger than the logic of safety. Anatoly Dyatlov, the deputy chief engineer, dismissed the warnings of the young technician who saw the reactor approaching a dangerous limit. "Continue," he said with a sharp voice. "We cannot appear to fail in front of Moscow." The lights flickered and the temperature rose quickly, but no one dared to stop the risky experiment. They didn't know that, in a few more seconds, nuclear power would rebel against its own creators. In the control room, the pressure needle pierced the maximum reading, and then suddenly, everything went blinding white. The first explosion lifted the reactor roof, weighing hundreds of tons into the air, followed by a sound like the world was collapsing. Blue fire pierced the night sky, reflecting a strange light on the windows of the quietly sleeping city of Pripyat. There was no evacuation alarm because the government was still waiting for permission to admit that a small mistake had occurred. When the second explosion occurred, the entire sky turned a fiery orange, like a hellish dawn arriving too quickly. The workers ran aimlessly, covering their faces from the scorching heat and flying metal fragments. In the control room, Valery Legasov stared at the monitor screen, which now displayed only darkness and the continuous buzzing sound of an alarm. He knew that night was not just an accident, it was a disaster that would shake the world for decades to come. Military forces were immediately dispatched without adequate protective gear, wearing only green uniforms and thin cloth masks. They were ordered to extinguish the fire with shovels of sand, unaware that the air they were breathing was invisible death. The Soviet government tried to cover up the incident, telling the world that everything was under control.